Japan Cultural Exploration in Guam.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am a traditional Japanese rakugo comic storyteller, and my name is Katsura, Sunshine. Rakugo is a 400-year tradition of storytelling in Japan. The stories have been passed down from master to apprentice, master to apprentice, master to apprentice, through the ages up until the present day. When we begin performing Rakugo in Japan, we start with a little bit of an explanation to the audience, and the explanation goes something like this. When we perform Rakugo, we use only two objects, only two props. In Japanese, we call this sensu. In English, we call this a fan. In Japanese, we call this tenugui. In English, we call this a hand towel. So far, so good. When we perform Rakugo, we wear special clothing. In Japanese, we call this a kimono. In English, we call this a kimono. When we perform Rakugo, we kneel on a cushion for long periods of time in a traditional Japanese way. In Japanese, we call this seiza. In English, we call this punishment. Then, if you have that much of an explanation, you should be ready to go. When we begin Rakugo in Japan, we begin with a special greeting in polite Japanese to the audience. It's in formal Japanese. It's called aisatsu. I would like to create a little bit of a Japanese atmosphere here with you today. So I'll begin with the aisatsu in Japanese, and then I will translate into English for those of you who do not speak Japanese. But in Japanese, the aisatsu goes a little bit like this. 皆様ご来場いただきありがとうございます。厚く御礼を申し上げます。私、こう見えても、落語家なんです。桂三氏改め六代桂文氏の15番目の弟子の桂さんに輝くと書きまして、桂三社員でございます。どうぞよろしくご指導ご鞭撻のほどお願い申し上げます。The same aisatsu in English. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. So sometimes English is a little bit shorter than Japanese. We have other special greetings in Japan. One very common one. 皆様遠いところからお忙しい中お越しいただきまして恐縮でございます。In English, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express to you at this time my sincerest gratitude for having taken the trouble today to come and see me perform from a faraway place at a busy time in your lives. Sometimes English is longer than Japanese. Now, this is no problem in Japan. We use this greeting, this aisatsu, all the time. Toi tokoro kara. Thank you for coming from a faraway place. Oizogashii naka. Even though you are busy, at a busy time in your lives. Something like that. No problem in Japan. We use it all the time whenever people are gathered. This can create some problems in other countries. I was performing in my hometown of Toronto, Canada, about 7 years ago, the beautiful Winter Garden Theatre, and I said to the audience, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming from a faraway place at a busy time in your lives. And one little boy in the second row stood up and called out to me onto the stage so I could hear. He said, "Oi, Sunshine, I'm not busy. If I was busy, I would not be coming here to see you." Now, the structure of Rakugo is very interesting because the first part starts with a little bit of an introduction, a self-introduction, a little bit of explanations, a little bit of some cultural facts, that kind of thing, to get people comfortable. And then the second part is the story proper, where I turn my head to the left, I turn my head to the right, and every story ends in a punchline. It's the punchline that's very important. With the Rakugo story, I could do 30 minutes of Rakugo and finish with the punchline. And if you're not looking for the punchline, then we'd have to start the whole thing again. So I would like to help you to get your Rakugo thinking caps on with a couple of very, very short stories. The first story I'm going to tell you is 15 seconds long. So now you know exactly when the punchline is coming. Ready? Two ladies gossiping in front of their home in old Edo, Japan. Did you hear? Mrs. Takahashi down the street fell down flat on her face, and her face became completely disfigured. Oh, really? That's too bad. Yes, but the doctor is amazing. He managed to put her face right back to the way it was before. Oh, really? That's too bad. So you can have all kinds of stories. This is a more modern story. It's a little bit of a topical story. This is a story that concerns our pandemic that we've been fighting and now we're learning to live with over the last couple of years. But I heard the same kind of two ladies right behind me on the airplane on a flight from London back to Tokyo. I heard them discussing how great a country Japan historically was. And it went like this. Did you know Japan is an amazing country? Really? An amazing country? How so? Yes, Japan is an amazing country. Did you know that in the Edo period, hundreds of years ago, a doctor used to take a candle and melt it over the patient's body, and that would help them prevent them from getting sick? Oh, really? We used to do that in Japan. Huh? Melt a candle over patients' bodies, and that would help prevent them from getting sick. Yes. Amazing country, wasn't it? Yes, Japan was an amazing country. Kind of a waxy nation. If you enjoyed those couple of stories, then this is going to be a fun half an hour for you. You know, I recall back to when I first came to Japan. I first came to Japan 25 years ago, almost 25 years ago. So my Japanese is getting better and better, step by step, but I still have a long way to go. I've been a professional storyteller now for 15 years. I'm currently performing in London's West End and on Broadway. And ladies and gentlemen, this is my Guam debut. So I hope that next time I'm performing for you, that it will be in person. Maybe I can get to the theater, or maybe to your school, or maybe even into your homes. This time, it'll have to be on the screen due to the circumstances, but I hope today to give you a little bit of a taste of Rakugo so that you can invite me to Guam next time. This is what I'm hoping, but I remember when I first went to Japan 25 years ago, and I knew no Japanese. I thought I knew no Japanese, but actually, by virtue of being an English speaker, I could automatically speak a little bit of Japanese. It's because Japanese has a very convenient aspect of the language for us English speakers, and is this: if you say certain words of the English language in a Japanese way, in a katakana way, katakana is the syllabary, a, iu, e, o, kakiku, keko, sashi, su, se, so, rariru, ro, lalilu, lo. If you pronounce English in this katakana way, sometimes it can magically become Japanese. This is very helpful. First time I came to Japan, it was a very hot day. I was thirsty. I wanted a beer. I just wanted a beer, but I had no idea how to say beer in Japanese, but I just tried it in katakana. I looked at the waitress. I said, biru. And the waitress brought me a beer. And I thought, oh, this is fantastic. Next, I wanted a wine, so I just tried it. I got it. A glass of wine. A glass of red wine appeared. And I thought, oh, interesting. No need to learn the Japanese word budoshu, the traditional word for wine, because that's grape sake, budoshu. Now, if you went to a restaurant and you asked a young waiter or waitress for budoshu, they wouldn't even understand what you're saying. Wine is Japanese. I thought, I wonder, I'll try some longer words. I wanted a cheeseburger, so I just said it. Cheezu, baga, don, got it. And I wanted to see how far I could take this. And I was feeling a little bit nostalgic for my mother's banana chocolate chip cake. And I thought there is no way that this is actually a Japanese word. However, the Japanese bakeries may very well have it because, you know, Japanese bakeries are amazing. They have the European pastries and breads and everything, and the Japanese ones, they tend to have everything. But I thought there is no way banana chocolate chip is actually going to be understandable, comprehensible in Japanese, but I tried it. Banana, chocolate, chip, cake, got it. And I thought, wow, Japanese is so easy. Now, the problem is there's times when this works and there's times when it doesn't work. The times when it doesn't work, you can run into problems. I ran out of soap in my kitchen in my apartment in Tokyo about a year ago, and I'd forgotten the word soap in Japanese, so I looked it up on Google Translate. I Googled it, and it came up here, seken. Very difficult kanji character to write, but at least I can remember the sound. Seken. I went to my local convenience store. I had this conversation with a young person working at the counter. I said, "Suyosen ga, hai, okakasama nan desho?" The conversation was happening in Japanese, but I'll translate it into English. Excuse me. Yes, sir. Can I help you? Yes. Second kudasai. Second, please. Yes, sir. One more time, please. Second. Just tell me what the second is. I'll go get it. I just want to buy it. What? Sir, I'm sorry. I'm just not sure if we stock that item. I'll have to check with my manager. Could you please repeat that one more time? I said, how many times do you want me to repeat it? Second. 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 Sir, perhaps that is an item which they only sell in America? I said, no. I know you have it here. Refused to understand what I was saying. First, I thought it was his fault, so I just spoke louder and repeatedly. Obviously, it wasn't his fault. It was my fault. I was forgetting a very important aspect of the Japanese syllabary is called the little tsu. Now, those of you who are studying Japanese or know Japanese, you will know there are two tsus in Japanese. The little tsu and the normal tsu. The normal tsu is very easy to remember because it makes a sound. The sound is tsu. The little tsu makes no sound. It just instructs you to wait infinitesimally before proceeding to the next syllable. So it's not second, which is what I was saying, it's second, which to us is almost the same. Anyway, if you make this mistake, no Japanese person will ever understand what you're trying to say, so please be careful of the little tsu. This was what was happening. I was saying to him again and again and again, this, second, second, come on, you know second, 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 sir, perhaps, sir, sir, second, sir, could you please just calm down for 1 minute? I'm just not sure if I've ever heard of the item you're looking for. Never heard of the item. Look at, when I wash my hair, what do I use? What's this in English? When I put in my shampoo, right? This shampoo, I want the hand version. I want to wash my hands. Sir, if you would like to wash your hands at the back of this room, there's a door. In the next room, there's a sink. No, that's the toilet. That much I know. I said, Iwa, and I gave up. I searched myself. I found what I was looking for, but I want to know the proper translation for this. So I went back to the same man and I asked him, I said, this, you, huh? This is what I was looking for? This is what I wanted? This is the item I was searching for? What is the proper pronunciation for this item? He said, sir, the proper Japanese pronunciation for that item is hand soap. Thank you for teaching me English. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I came to Japan 25 years ago, so my Japanese is getting better and better, step by step. I'm starting to lose confidence in my English. And it's not just because I stumbled over my words right there. People say things to me to make me lose confidence in my English. For example, when I moved to New York a couple of years ago to put the show on Broadway, a lot of people asked me, where are you from? That's a typical question. I think people ask it in the United States all the time. We ask it in Canada all the time. Just interested because people are coming from all over the place. But I think, having lived in Japan now for about 25 years, I think I've lost my Canadian accent. So people can't tell where I'm from, particularly. Now, I'm not sure. But I like to have a little bit of fun. So I say, where are you from? I always say, guess. I'll go to the taxi, go to a home party, in the bar or restaurant, meeting a stranger for the first time, talking to the waiter. Where are you from? I always say, guess. And here's the countries they say. Russia, Croatia, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Germany. These countries have one thing in common. English is not the first language. So I get frustrated. I say, no, come on. I'm from Canada. And they automatically say the same response. Of course, Quebec, the French part. It's like, no, I'm from Toronto. Makes me lose confidence in my English. Also in Japan, when I first came to Japan, one thing I was very surprised about, and those of you who've been to Japan, you may have noticed this, is people handing out tissues at the train stations. At first I thought these were free tissues to the tissue companies, but then I realized that this is advertising. That's actually genius in Japanese advertising because, like I do, advertising my Broadway show in Times Square, I might give people a leaflet or a pamphlet. And they just throw these away. But if you hand someone a tissue packet and there's a little advertising card written inside the tissue packet, the people say, oh, thank you very much. And they keep it. And then when they go to use the tissues again and again, they'll look at the advertisement again and again. And there's a specific word that accompanies the handing of the tissue in Japan. And I will teach it to you now. It's ikaga desu ka? Which means, why don't you try my something, whatever I'm selling. So the people advertising the sushi shop, it'd be sushi ikaga desu ka, and they hand you the tissues. Or if it's the yakitori chicken skewer shop, it'd be yakitori ikaga desu ka, and they hand you the tissues. And they're selling everything in Japan with the tissues, right? Eyeglasses, megane ikaga desu ka? Contact lenses, a kontakuto lens ikaga desu ka? And a few weeks ago, in front of Shinjuku Station, which was the busiest station in Tokyo and perhaps one of the busiest transit stations in the entire world, young lady doing her part-time job handed me the same set of tissues. And this is what she said to me. She looked at me in the eyes and she said, English Conversation School, ikaga desu ka? Makes me lose confidence in my English. Also, as I said, I'm performing on Broadway and in London's West End, so I'm performing in English. Performing with you in Guam, I'm performing in English. When I perform in Japan, I'm performing in Japanese. I'm also learning to perform in Chinese and in Italian right now. I'm not sure how quickly the Chinese show will be up to speed, but it's something you can look forward to. However, this is interesting. I sometimes get invited to perform in English, even in Japan, usually for high schools or universities when there's that educational component to the performance. And I'd like to give you a little bit of an episode. I was performing for students in Hokkaido, the northernmost island of Japan, for about 50 university students, and I did a very famous, very traditional RAKUGO story. I'd like to do a little bit of it for you today. Once upon a time, there was a little boy with a very long name. His name was Jugemu Goko no Surikire Kaijari Suiyo no Sungyo Matsu Ungyo Matsu Furai Matsu Kuneru Tokoro ni Sumu Tokoro Yabura Koji Bura Koji Paipo no Shuringan no Gurindai no Pompoko Pino Pompoko na no Chokyume no Chosuke. It was a very long name. One day his neighbor, a little boy named Kin-chan, a much shorter name, came to pick him up for school. And Kin-chan said, Jugemu, Goko no Suriki de Kaidari Tsuyo. Ungyo matsu furai matsu kuneru tokoro ni sumu tokoro. Yabura koji paipo. Paipo no shurigan no gurindai no pompoko pi no pompoko na no chokyume no chosuke kon. Let's go to school. And Jugemu's mother came out and said, Adama Kin-chan, you're so kind, so nice, but our Jugemu Goko no Suriki de Kaijari Suiyo no Ungyo matsu furai matsu Koneru tokoro ni sumu tokoro Yabura koji bura koji Paipo no Shurigan no Gurindai no Pompoko pi no Pompoko na no Chokyume no Chosuke is sleeping. Wait here. I'll wake him up. Hey. Jugemu Goko no Suriki de Kaijari Suiyo no Ungyo matsu furai matsu Kuneru tokoro ni sumu tokoro Yabura koji bura koji Paipo no Shurigan no Gurindai no Pompoko pi no Pompoko na no Chokyume no Chosuke. Wake up, Kin-chan is here to pick you up. I'm sorry, Kin-chan. Jugemu Goko no Suriki de Kaijari Suiyo no furai matsu Kuneru tokoro ni sumu tokoro Yabura koji bura koji Paipo Shurigan King Kong Kang Kong. King Kong Kong Kong. Ma'am, his name was so long. School for today is already finished. So then when I finished that story, I got the anketo, the survey of the students I was performing for in Hokkaido, and they gave me their comments. Here, in the survey, they said things like, Sunshine-san speaks very good English. I was surprised. Sunshine-san's English sounds almost as good as a native speaker. Almost. It makes me lose confidence in my English. You know, Japanese people are very nice. They're very kind. They can be very complimentary. And sometimes this can go overboard. I was wearing a kimono into the convenience store just the other day, and the lady at the counter was smiling at me, I thought because I was wearing a kimono. So I decided to say hello to her. I said, konnichiwa, which means hello, right? I said, konnichiwa. Do you know what she said? I said, konnichiwa. She said, arama! Which means, oh my God! Nihongo jouzu yana! Which means, you speak perfect Japanese. All I said was, konnichiwa. She said, how long have you been in Japan? I said, oh, no, 25 years. Only 25 years. Amazing. This is fine. The compliment is a little bit overboard, but it's fine. I'm happy. She's appreciating my effort at speaking a bit of Japanese. That's fine. Sometimes you get to the other side. I remember when I was first performing RAKUGO. I performed for half an hour. And then when I progressed, I started performing for 1 hour. Sometimes 90 minutes. Sometimes 2 hours. The other day I performed for 2 hours. Yeah, it was a little bit of a speech and then a RAKUGO performance, and it was all in Japanese, trying to make people laugh in not my native language. 2 hours, the audience was laughing. But when I got the survey, the anketo, after the show, I got this kind of comment. Sunshine-san's Japanese contained several grammatical errors. Please study harder. Very strict. Very strict. If I say konnichiwa, I mean araba. I speak for 2 hours. You could be doing better. Which one is it? I remember when I went to Osaka for the first time because my style of rakugo is the kamigata rakugo, the Osaka rakugo tradition. So I did my whole shugyo, my apprenticeship in Osaka. But when I first got to Osaka, I thought I was learning a completely different language. I didn't know any Osaka dialect. Osaka Ben, they call it Osaka dialect. So the first thing I learned was how to say thank you, right? In modern standard Japanese, in the sort of the Tokyo dialect, it's arigato. But in Osaka and in Kyoto, it's okini. Okini. Now, in Osaka, people are very, very friendly and very, very funny. They say that everybody is a comedian in Osaka. Even normal people on the train, on the street, everyone's a comedian. So it's a good place to learn your comedic chops because every interaction is kind of comical. But people from Osaka can also be very, very strict about the Osaka dialect. They don't like it when people start to speak Osaka dialect if they're not from Osaka. They can tell right away, and it feels weird because there's a very specific intonation in Osaka. So again, it's very difficult. Which Osaka person are you going to meet? I go into the convenience store. I just bought a sandwich. I paid some money, got my change, and I wanted to try my newly learned Osaka dialect. And so I said, "Oh, kini." And the lady looked at me. She said, "Araba, Osaka ben bari bari yada." So I thought, okay, my first little foray into Osaka dialect has gone very well. But then I did a story. I did my first story in Osaka dialect. It was part of my master's solo show, and I was the top batter. I was the opening act for 10 minutes, and I did my story. Konnichiwa! Iteru ka? Konnichiwa! Konnichiwa! Oh, 誰やと思ったらおまはんかいな。上がりな、上がりな。お前の母ちゃんに会うたらえらいぼやいたはったで。あいも変わらず仕事もせんとブルブルブルブル遊び入れてるせいやな。いかんねんでお前も24にもらって。That kind of very, I don't know, those of you who don't speak Japanese, but you can kind of tell. It's like, it's Osaka, the feeling of Osaka. I thought I did a very good job. And then after the show finished, I got these kinds of comments from the people in the audience, the Osaka people in the audience who were listening to my show. They said, listening to Sunshine-san speak Osaka dialect gives me a feeling akin to seasickness. Very strict. Very, very strict. I got another comment. The moment Sunshine began to speak, I could tell almost immediately that he was not really born in Osaka. Usually, if you look at my face, you would figure that out a lot more quickly. Certainly before I speak. Yeah, but ladies and gentlemen, I have to say that it's a lot of fun. Just being in Japan now, 25 years, but basically half my life. I love Japan. I feel like a kid in Japan because I'm learning something new every day, and someone's teaching me something new every day. And there's also that satisfaction that if you learn enough, then sometimes you can have the last laugh, like a lot of the children that appear in Rakugo stories also get the last laugh. Sarakichi-ya! Oi, Sarakichi! Yes, master! Sarakichi, I want you to go into the kitchen and see if the miso beans are boiling. Yes, master, miso beans. Yasha, 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 yasha. Hot, 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 hot. That's very hot, 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 hot. That's hot, 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 hot. That's hot, 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 hot. That's hot, 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 hot. Delicious. Sarakichi, what are you doing? I think the beans are ready, master. What do you mean you think the beans are ready? Who told you to eat the beans? I did not say eat the beans. I said see with your eyes. If the beans were boiling, put that stuff away, Sarakichi. I have a job for you to do. I want you to take this letter across the street to Sadanobu-san. Right? Hurry up. Hurry up. That's Sarakichi. Always stealing the miso beans before they're even ready. Huh? You'd think I was raising a thief in the house. But you know, those beans did look very delicious. I think I'll try some myself. Here we go. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, delicious. Very good. Excellent. Very good, but if Sarakichi comes back and sees me eating these beans, he'll say something like, Master, you told me not to eat the beans and now I see you eating the beans. I'll never hear the end of it. I should hide somewhere and eat these beans. Huh? Where can I go? Upstairs? No, upstairs. Sadakichi come ton 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 running up the stairs. Discover me. The closet? No, the closet's dark and there's no way out. There must be somewhere I can go. Somewhere I could be alone. Somewhere where no one would think of coming to look for me. Ah, I know. The toilet. That's as good a place as any, huh? Yes. Yes. Really delicious. It doesn't smell very good, but what can you do? Master, I'm home. Master, it's me, Sadakichi. Master. My master's not here. Now's my chance. Miso beans. Yasha. That's very hot. Delicious, but if my master comes back and sees me eating these beans, he'll say something like, Sadakichi, I thought I told you not to eat the miso beans. He'll be really angry. I know. I should hide somewhere and eat these beans. Where can I go? Upstairs? No, upstairs. My master might be taking a nap. He'll wake up. He might find me. The closet? No, the closet is dark and there's no way out. There must be somewhere I can go. Somewhere I can be alone. Somewhere where no one will think of coming to find me. I know. The toilet! That's a good place. Master! Sadakichi! What are you doing here? I brought you another bowl of beans. Arigatou gozaimashita. Arigatou gozaimashita. Minasama, o kyotsuke o kairi kudasai mase. Arigatou gozaimashita. Katsura sunshine de gozaimashita. Domo. Arigatou gozaimashita. Arigatou gozaimashita. Mata okoshi itaraketara kouyu fu ni omotte orimasu. Arigatou gozaimashita. Arigatou gozaimashita. So to all my friends in Guam, I hope you enjoyed this little taste of Rakugo, and I'm looking forward to performing for you in person next time. But for now, I have been Katsura Sunshine.
Japan Cultural Exploration in Guam.